Yo, what's going on, guys? As you can tell by the title, we had an interview with Steven from VYFI, and I'm going to let it play through here in a sec. But before we start, we had a rough internet connection, so I'll be splicing together some scenes where it cut out. So if you see some jumps, just know I'm saving us some time by cutting out those silent spots. But let's jump right into it. And to start off, we have Steven teaching us about their Launchpad T-1.
Beautiful. Hello, everybody. This isn't a classic start to an interview, but that's absolutely okay. This is T-1. We're really excited about T-1. It's the upcoming Launchpad that should be coming out in April. This is the main sales page that we have. At the moment, of course, it's filled in with the examples from T-1, where we've got upcoming sales, regular sales, and need to change that word name from regular to just sale. And pre-sales. So projects are able to set up pre-sales with preconditions that allow certain users to access the sale in advance. These are our sales types, of course. So this will zoom you to those sales types. And then our closed sales. Now, let me just connect the wallet. One moment. Because once we connect the wallet, now the user panel will come up. So in user panel, there's going to be a few things, right? First, there's going to be purchase history. And in the purchase history, it has the details of your transactions. And if you still have the capacity to cancel that order, it gives you the option to cancel that order. Then we have the analytics. The analytics is a list of all the projects whose tokens you've received through the Launchpad with, total amount of participated projects, the total ARDA you've invested, and the total return that you've had. Of course, it's a Launchpad, so you need to have KYC. KYC is important for any project to be able to sell a token legally when they're starting. And My Projects. And My Projects is where users can see the tokens that they've minted and the projects that they've published to our site. And this is where our system is really cool, because our system essentially lets you build your own tokens and then publish your own projects to launch. So you go here to create your own token. And within create your own token, you would enter the name of the token. Let's call it Atlanick. This doesn't actually matter, right? Token description, token symbol, so on and so forth. How many tokens are you going to have? Your logo, update the logo. I can't go through unless I update the logo. Then you got some websites, some advanced features, which are picking SIPs, essentially, what CIPs you're interested in. And we have, of course, the details on what each of those SIPs are. And then, of course, it is T-1 to take off. So after you've done all that, you take off and you launch your token. So then the token arrives in your wallet, nice and simply. And once the token's arrived in your wallet, we can publish that token to the store. So what we have is, let's say, the project name, whatever the project name is, project description, put in the project description. The tokenomics of the project, this is where you'd put in the details regarding the distribution of your project, right? So we put in the details. Anywho's, can't be bothered doing them all. Once that's done, the project page is created. And the project page essentially has how many tokens are there for the sale. This will be the image, of course, and then the details that the project put in. The tokenomics get automatically built into the distribution. And here's the distribution for TM1. And then we also ask them to build out the roadmap, and we automatically build them out the roadmap. Users that are KYC'd are able to engage just by pressing buy token, and then they'll send that through. And then, of course, they purchase the token. So they basically engaged with the pre-sale. Now, what we can also do, of course, is full vesting schedules. So teams that need to implement a vesting schedule for their users and for the buyers, for example, they're paid out 6 times once a month over 6 months with a cliff of 2 months. That's something that we can build into the buy. So when the user buys the tokens, they're actually paid out based on that vesting schedule. And something that we're really proud of, which is what our real unique selling point, or I guess our unique point of difference is, particularly within Cardano, is the fact that we currently are running we're currently in Cardano, you can't block smart contracts based on external pieces of, not information, based on external data, right? So that means that if I have KYC requirement for a sale, whilst I have a KYC requirement for the sale itself, or the smart contract itself, can't ascertain the KYC of users partaking in the sale. All the smart contract sees is I've received a transaction with a token, and my job is to send out a transaction with the other token, right? So there are, within the launch and how launches work currently in Cardano, it's almost, well, it is impossible to go up to a project and say, hey, we can run your launch for you, and we can make sure that no one that you don't want accessing this launch is actually unable to access this launch, right? Because any user can just look up that address on the blockchain and buy the token, regardless of whether they're KYC'd or not. And that's true for all launch pads on Cardano. There is that real risk that we don't have hidden addresses. That's not a risk. That's not necessarily the right word. We're a public blockchain, so everything should be public, but we don't have hidden addresses, which means all of the addresses are public. We've actually developed a system for jurisdictional compliance, which actually means that we can confirm that all users that participate, if a project doesn't want anyone in, for example, Iran buying, we can ascertain with 100% certainty that no one in Iran is buying, or no one in North Korea is buying. And we can actually do it so that through a mixture of the KYC and our software, we're able to create a truly jurisdictionally compliant launchpad for the first time on Cardano, which is something that we're super proud of, and is something that doesn't currently exist in the meta of our blockchain.
Now, I do have one question though. With a VPN, would they be allowed to?
No.
Okay. That's been the go-to for everybody, right? Like the JPEG store launch and just airdrops in general. Everybody's been using VPNs.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's been using VPNs. No, doesn't it look for us? No, we're on the Opera. That's why. So absolutely, I hear what you're saying. A lot of people have just been doing VPNs to get around it. And exactly what you're describing is the problem, right? It's a public address. I get a VPN. I skirt around it, all nice and easy. So what we've needed is to actually build a backup system that works with SumSub, our KYC provider, that actually ascertains the KYC of every wallet from the incoming transaction, right? And then we're able to classify the incoming transaction, and then based on that classification, we're able to act accordingly, right?
Like
so
that.
this is actually an amalgamation. This is an amalgamation of two sets of software that allows us to do this in a truly accurate manner. And it's taken us quite a few months to design. So this is something that we're very proud of.
Yeah, so I've been wondering too, like tokens that are trying to launch and do exactly like you say, like not have, let's say, North America participate due to legal reasons. And then let's say they have a bunch of US people use a VPN. Do they get in trouble, at all? Or is it found out at all that people used a VPN? Is it just ignored?
So that's a tough question, right? I've been advising in this region, in this field for a while now, and I kind of always give the same set of advice, which is chances are regulators aren't going to care. They're not going to look at you and go, well, he's so big that we better come after him, right? Like they're not probably going to care about you. But the reality is, on the off chance that they do, you want to be able to show them the paperwork that you've done everything correctly. Right? So the odds of them coming at you if you're a small project, and I'm talking, less than $5 million. In Australia, the number's 4 million. I'm actually not 100% sure what the SEC's number is for their, like, where we make that determination. So I do live in a different jurisdiction, sorry. But there will be a number for it.
Right.
And as long as you're like a fairly small project, you don't need to worry too much, right? They still might do it, but they probably won't. The thing is, most projects plan to grow. You don't want to be a small project forever. So if you want to build in that capacity to grow and not be sitting there shitting yourself while you're growing, thinking, oh my God, they're going to come after me and we did everything illegally, your best bet's to do things right. Do it legal in the first place. You don't need to worry.
That's awesome. So you guys are the first people to be able to provide that on Cardano.
We're going to be the first people to provide that on Cardano, and we're launching with Palm Token, which is the token for Zengate Global. And so Zengate's going to be our first project that we launch with. They're already slated to come on board, and we're launching in April. And we've got a few other projects that we're launching that we're really excited for. I've got meetings with 2 of them straight after this interview, actually. So,
Oh, nice.
I can't announce them yet, though. So hopefully the next one will be announced this week. The next one will hopefully be announced this week. And then following on from there, we should be having one announcement a week, hopefully, of the projects that are launching on us between now and when we launch. So we're looking to launch with a bang with a lot of projects coming out at once. And very soon we're going to be releasing a big article about our future product of what we're going to be turning TM1 into. That's called Mission Control. And, well, I'm really excited to present it yet, but we're not ready to present Mission Control yet. So that's coming soon. Even on the VYFI side, I should add, because I jumped straight into TM1 there, right? And kind of forgot about the VYFI side. On the VYFI side, we're developing heaps as well. And something that we're really excited for, I'm going to share my screen again. Knowing my luck, so we've just released, so I'll quickly talk about it. We have released we're releasing a new product called the Transaction Cart. And it's something that we're really excited about. It's the first time this has ever been done in crypto, as far as I can tell. And this is entirely made possible purely by the powers given to us within the Cardano blockchain, right? This wouldn't really be possible on any other blockchain, or at least on any other account model blockchain, I should add. And the way that this transaction cart works is very, very similar to shopping cart on Amazon, right?
Okay.
So with a shopping cart on Amazon, you essentially stack the products that you want to buy. And after you get multiple products in there that you want to buy, you're essentially able to put them all through at once, right? So super simple system, nothing too complex going on there, right? But what we're able to do is we're essentially able to do that for transactions on our DEX, right? And by doing it for transactions on our DEX, we're able to reduce the net amount of time and also the net amount of costs that users have to experience before they're able to engage with the platform, And let's just go through it. We've already got it running and we've already got it all happening. So I'm going to share my screen now. I got it all set up. That's what I wanted to do. Well, we'll start with the bar.
Okay.
So if I go to the bar, let's start with putting in, let's say 200, right? So we'll throw 200 VYFI into the bar, add that to the cart. Then we'll go to the DEX. That seems to have loaded a little better, but the DEX still isn't great. So we'll go here. We'll go to details harvest. We should have a little bit of a harvest. Oh my God, I hate you, Australian internet. That's a pretty big harvest. Look at that. So add to cart. Love it. So then we can go to DEX. Right? What do I want to buy? Well, let's buy ourselves a little bit of X VYFI. Let's buy 5X VYFI because I'm mostly just doing this for example. 5X VYFI, add to cart. Let's do the other way around. So let's do a min. We'll just sell this absolute 15th of min. Sell that, add that to the cart. And then to finish it off, we can do an add liquidity. And let's do this clap, even though who even has clap? Pair unavailable, yep, because they're not even on Cardano anymore. There we go. So then we can add in just that little bit of VYFI, add to cart. Now, if we look at these transactions that we've all added to the cart now, we've got a bar, we've got a farm. Oh, this is beautiful. This one's actually done it for me, which is a great example. The pool has shifted slightly. So that means since I've put it in, right, to when I'm ordering it, it's moved very, very little. It's gone from 5 to 5.00, blah, 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 2. And this is saying, do I want to accept the new price? And if I want to accept the new price, I press that button and it accepts the new price for me. Then I've got the DEX trade ADA min, and then a trade going from min to ADA, and then I've got a add liquidity, right? So all of these things, total cost, 25 ADA, 205 VYFI, 0.123718 min. Right, now I confirm the transaction. We send that all through, boom, and now watch it fail on me because of course, no, it's submitted.
Nice.
It actually worked while I'm showing it to somebody. That's everything you're hoping for. So now we essentially just have to wait like normal for those transactions to go through, right? So those transactions are all on order and you've just done them all at once, right? So let's think about that from a user perspective. That's what I'm most excited about. It's that, let's say, particularly since our system is already stakeless LP farming, so we've already got automatically harvesting every farm at once, right? So let's say you have 10 liquidity pools and you want to move 5 of those liquidity pools. To move 5 of those liquidity pools, at the moment, you would have to remove 5 different projects from a farm, break 5 separate LPs, swap out half of the tokens on those LPs for ADA, do the next swap out for that ADA for the other tokens that you want to move into, redeposit them into farm, redeposit them into LP, and then redeposit them into farm. That's a total of 6 total transactions that need to be done for each token, right? And if you do it 5 LPs, you're now running 30 transactions just to get you from 5 liquidity pools into 5 different liquidity pools.
Sorry, it cut out a little bit. I was just gonna ask,
Can you have it?
Yeah, can you like have it, let's say converting from, I don't know, ADA to ADA min, and then also you have a transaction waiting for that to go through to automatically, I don't know, like stake or do something like that with that ADA min once it goes through? Or do you need to wait for that transaction to go through first?
That would be the next order.
Okay.
That's the next step that we're going to be implementing. But for now, you need to wait until that transaction goes through first, right?
Okay.
But the advantage that it does provide, though, is that you do need to wait for that transaction to go through first, but it is only one transaction to, for example, remove 5 liquidities.
Right.
Right? So rather than the wait time of 5 separate transactions, you've got the wait time of 1 transaction. Furthermore, you've also got the fees of 1 transaction rather than the fees of 5 transactions. Right? The blockchain fees, I mean.
Right.
And most importantly, because our system is already stakeless LP farming, and you don't need to add and remove to farm, so you're already saving a step there. The previous example that I had, which is 5 liquidity pools, exit 5 liquidity pools and enter 5 new ones. For our system, it will just be exit liquidity, swap out those 5 tokens for one, swap out those 5 tokens for another, add them to liquidity. So we've taken what would have been a 30 transaction process on any other DEX on Cardano, and we've turned that into a 4 transaction process. So this is not only a massive saving to the user, because if you're paying 0.3 ADA per transaction across 30 transactions, that's 10 ADA. Across 4 transactions, that's 1.2 ADA. So just on blockchain fees, yeah, exactly. On blockchain fees, you've saved yourself 8 Cardano for that process. And then in terms of time, you've saved yourself waiting for 30 transactions and having to send them through one by one, because you can send them through in lumps.
True. I mean, we all love Cardano, but it does take a while for those transactions.
Yep. And you can only spend 1 UTXO at a time. Only spend 1 UTXO at a time, right?
That's a good point.
So you've got that forever issue of needing to wait till that one's spent to be able to spend it again, and then wait till that one's spent to be able to spend it again, and then wait till that one's spent to be able to spend it again. So sometimes you want to run 10 transactions, and you literally need to wait for every single one of those 10 transactions to go through.
It's exhausting sometimes, that's for sure.
It's exhausting. and that's where this solution came from, right? So Cardano really easily lets you split transactions. Look, I should say the implementation of this isn't easy. It's not like it was easy to do. It's taken us months. But it does allow you to split transactions in a very logical manner, which means we're able to take multiple transactions, essentially split them, like split the UTXOs to run them all at once. But what else is really important in that is that the reason this came about was because I had to do a lot of stuff on our DEX and on other DEXs, just on the Cardano ecosystem to manage, the business's portfolio, my clients' portfolios. And it was really weird in that I was just really sick of not weird, it was just really annoying in that I always had to spend half my day running transactions. Like I was just getting sick of it. So we built this tool very much because I went to my engineering team and I'm like, guys, I can't handle this anymore. I'm spending 3 hours a day doing transactions. Is there anything we can do to make this quicker? And me using it myself, I can already tell you I've reduced my engagement time of needing to do transactions with this transaction card by 2/3. I mean, you just saw how quickly I was able to do 5 transactions. And those 5 transactions have all already gone through. So yeah, that I think is really going to make users' lives a lot easier and managing liquidity a lot easier for users. So as you can see, we're really busy over here between T-1 and VYFI, helping projects launch, building out new technology on the Cardano blockchain. Not the last, we've got a few others, but we're releasing a new product soon. We don't have an example of it yet on VYFI called a lock and load vault, which is something that we're really excited for as well. This is a product that was born very much out of a need that we observed within the ecosystem. And that is essentially that projects keep inflating their tokens. They keep using marketing supply and airdrop supply of their token in an attempt to boost their liquidity, which makes perfect sense, right? If you want to do something with your token, one of the best things you can do is try to use it to boost liquidity. The issue that we have, though, and you can see this with jewel farms, is that a lot of projects sort of increase their inflation rate to push out more tokens, but whilst they're doing that, they're not actually necessarily getting a 1-to-1 ratio of liquidity being produced for the tokens they're pushing out. In other words, they're pushing out more tokens than what's going out into liquidity, which is the case in pretty much every single token, right? You don't have a very good ratio of the amount of tokens you're inflating to how many of those tokens actually find their way back into liquidity for the project. So working with EMP, which is Empower, they wanted a system that allowed them to get airdrop directly into liquidity, right? They were like, we're going to be airdropping these tokens anyway. How can we make sure that these wind up where we want them? You know, we want them to be in liquidity, in our liquidity pool. How do we make sure they're there instead of just in people's wallets so they can sell them? So we came up with a concept called a lock and load vault, whereby the project puts up their airdrop supply of token. Let's call it 10,000 Cardano worth of their token, just for ease of use. The user comes to the vault and sends in Cardano. Let's say they send in 1,000 Cardano into the vault. That vault will automatically match that user's Cardano with the project's token, provide that both of those tokens, the 1,000 Cardano and the project's token to liquidity. And then those LP tokens are going to be taken away and locked in a vault for a period of time that the project wants them locked for. We're targeting 3 to 6 months, depending on different projects. So this basically means that the project has given you half of the value that you're adding to the liquidity pool, i.e. the token side. So as a user, you're taking on the project's impermanent risk at half the price because you're only putting in the Cardano side. It's locked so the project gains liquidity for an extended period of time. And then all those projects that were all going to be inflated anyway, because they were all going to be given out to users regardless, who are going to be putting it into liquidity through a jewel farm. But rather than sending it out as an inflationary mechanism purely to users hoping that it winds up into the liquidity, we're actually putting those tokens for airdrop directly into liquidity for the projects, right?
If you put in 1,000 though, would you be getting 500 ADA's worth of tokens and it locking it that way, or would you be getting the full 1,000 ADA's worth, but it's just locked on their side, is what you're saying?
Well, it's actually that ratio that you describe is actually up to the project to decide, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect 1-to-1, right? So as an example, the project could have a ratio of 8 to 10 or 0.8 to 1, which would mean you put in 1,000. They give you 800 worth of their token and match it with 800, right? And then that goes in, and then the last 200 is zapped in, for example.
Okay.
That way, the user's total expenditure has been 1,000 ADA. They've been given 800 ADA worth of tokens for free, and then 200 ADA of those LPs are given straight back to the user, and 1,800 ADA of those LPs, 400 is given to the user, and 1,600 is going to be stuck into the vault. Right? Okay. That ratio is actually what you described is actually up to the project to determine. So that's completely custom, up to the project to decide.
That is really interesting. I like that.
Fully customizable is the word.
That is crazy. to think about, because I've always, because yeah, with impermanent loss and how, you know, all the traditional pools
It's a
work,
really cool.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't think anyone else has. This is a new product as far as I can gather in crypto as well. And we're looking to have this launched sort of by the end of March. So, as I said, the launching token we're doing this with, and the people that inspired us to do this was Empower, so EMP token. And as far as I'm aware, they're going to be the first utilizers of this system, and we're hoping to have them up and running, as I said, by the end of March with the first ever lock and load vaults. And then this is going to be something that we can offer to all projects to help them boost their liquidity and help them get things into people's hands in an inflationary manner that just burns your price.
How much would it cost for a project to want to use this on your end?
I don't really have pricing yet. The way that we generally
Okay.
do things, like we work with a lot of projects, right? Our target as a platform is to have utility for our customers, which means we want more liquidity on our platform from more projects. If a project wants to use a lock and load vault, we probably wouldn't ask them for money up front if they're willing to move liquidity over. So if they put in 30 to 50,000 TVL for their project before the launch of the vault, we probably wouldn't charge them. Otherwise, if they don't want to move any liquidity over and they want to just do this from scratch, it would probably be somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 ADA is my guess. We haven't finished it yet, so I can't give you exact pricing, but that's my guess.
So if some project wanted to hit you up, is it safe to say they should just directly message you guys and you could work it out?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Hit us up. Directly message us. Let us know what your needs are, and we're here for you. You know, we'll be able to sort it all out.
Awesome. Well, all right, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the interview. We talked a little bit more after this, but the lag was getting pretty strong, and we were both pretty frustrated with it. But I think all the audio came out pretty well, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And I'm going to have all of their socials linked in the description below. If you're a project and you want to, you know, get some of that pricing or whatever, just go ahead and DM them. And if you're just, you know, interested in the project, then you can read more. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Remember to get outside, see your family, see your friends. We're here to make more money so that we can spend more time with them. Until next time, guys. Peace.